I'm so happy right now. And also a little bit sad. I'll let you know why. Roll intro.
My little pony, what is friendship all about? My little pony, friendship is magic.
Greetings, my Brony and Pegasus friends. Welcome to Crimson Analysis. In this episode, I will be reviewing Season 7, Episode 7, Parental Glideance. When I first saw the name, I thought it was parental Guidance, but nope, there's an L there. It's Glidance. It makes sense, since this episode is about Rainbow Dash, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We open with the CMC and... What are you doing?
Scootaloo, I know you have to go to Cloudsdale to finish your report. I'm just wondering if this is the best way to get there.
There he is. The man we have been waiting to see for 6 seasons. He doesn't quite look the same as we expected, or have the same name.
Bo Hothoof at your service.
But more on that later. And Scootaloo is on cloud 9. Aw, her mom's cute. We finally get to meet Rainbow Dash's parents. The fans have been waiting for this for a long time. We've now seen the parents of every pony. We've seen Twilight's parents, Rarity's parents, Pinky's parents, Fluttershy's parents, and now Rainbow Dash's parents. All we need to see now is Applejack's parents. Oh, that's so adorable. Scootaloo is super cute in this episode.
She was wearing it when she spoke her first words. And this broken lantern is from when she first learned to fly. And this bitten apple is from when she grew her first tooth.
Okay, so they're those parents.
There's all the stuff about Rainbow Dash getting accepted into the Wonderbolt Academy, and then getting chosen as a Wonderbolt.
So Rainbow Dash didn't tell her parents about this? What's going on here? Oh, the typical embarrassing parents thing. You know, I never had to deal with this growing up. My parents weren't that kind of thing. I mean, yeah, they supported me and everything and got excited for me, but they never embarrassed me. But I did see this happen with my friends. While most of us can relate to this in some aspect, Scootaloo has no idea what Rainbow Dash's problem is. And even as time goes on through the episode, and we see how the parents act, she still can't understand. Oh, those hats. Oh, hi, Dr. Hooves, Rose. And very quickly, the parents start going too far. It's always great to see Spitfire again. Hey, Sky and Vapor. How's it going? And finally, it just builds up too much and Rainbow Dash snaps and yells at her parents. I don't know about you, but I was in physical pain during this scene. It was so hard to watch. You can see that Rainbow Dash had hurt her parents a lot. And now we get a flashback sequence. And Rainbow Dash explains to Scootaloo why she's acting the way she is. She always got embarrassed because her parents would cheer for her even when she lost. And the more she started winning, the more and more her parents started cheering, and that just got more and more embarrassing for Rainbow. So it got to the point where she just stopped telling them what she was doing. But still, Scootaloo can't understand why. And now we come to the most heart-wrenching moment of the episode.
You know, some ponies would dream of having parents like that. Yeah, right. Name one. Me. Growing up, I never thought I'd be the best at anything because no pony ever told me.
Is this it? Is the show actually confirming that she's an orphan? Rainbow Dash finally understands and decides to make it right with her parents. Scootaloo gets a B+ on her report. Oh, hi Diamond Tiara, Silverspoon. Good to see you again. There are a couple of things I want to talk about before I do my final thoughts. The embarrassing parent thing. Now, as I before stated, I never had to deal with this. My parents were never this extravagant and cheer me on, although I had quite a few friends that did. Rainbow Dash yelling at her parents. You just feel so bad for the parents. I mean, yeah, they were going a little overboard, but they were just trying to support Rainbow in the best way they knew how because they were so proud of her and loved her so much. Probably the most pivotal moment of this episode. We've always wondered certain things about Scootaloo. Why can't she fly? Does she have parents? Is she an orphan? The last time we got a Scootaloo-centered episode was Sleepless in Ponyville, and even then, they weren't focusing on those issues. What has been sort of half confirmed is that she has some sort of disability that's keeping her from flying at the moment. Now, I know there are people out there that kind of don't want to see her fly, and I can totally understand their reasoning. Scootaloo has a disability, and people that have disabilities can kind of relate to her. But in my mind, I kind of hope she will be able to fly someday. Whichever route this takes for her, whether she will never be able to fly, or whether she eventually will fly in the show, I'm fine with either one. We know that she wants to fly so badly, and I love her so much that I really want to see her achieve this. Now this thing about the parents. It has long been assumed that Scootaloo is an orphan, though that's never been confirmed. We've never seen her house, and we've never seen her parents. We've never even seen the possibility of her having parents. Every time we see Scootaloo, she's alone. Now, I'm completely fine with either scenario. I'm fine if it turns out that she's an orphan. I'm also fine if it turns out she does have parents, if very unsupportive parents, or very unsupportive foster parents, depending on the scenario. But the show is very largely hinting that she's an orphan. Scootaloo loves Rainbow Dash's parents, and how enthusiastic and proud they are of her, because of the fact that Scootaloo has never had that in her life. She's never had someone that encourages her and supports her as much as Rainbow Dash's parents do. As she stated herself, she would have loved to have parents like this. Now let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about the flashback sequence. There's some rather important things here that we need to address. There are quite a few fillies here that we recognize, mainly Derpy. And Derpy is in first place, and her eyes look normal. Okay, forgive me for the tangent I'm about to go off on. I know this episode is not centered around Derpy, but there's some information here we need to address. Now, I don't know what your theories are, but I believe the show has pretty much confirmed she wasn't born with her eyes like that. As we can see here, her eyes seem fine when she's in first place, but then, as time goes on, her eyes start getting more and more cross-eyed, and it looks like that's also affecting her ability to fly well. It looks like she was a very good flyer before something happened, and that probably affected her ability to fly well because she can no longer see well. This brings us back to a scene in Where the Apple Lies. In this scene, we see that Derpy has bandages over her eyes. Now this scene kind of split the fandom a little bit. You can see this scene in kind of two ways. First off, Derpy had an accident that made her cross-eyed and she's recovering in the hospital. The second scenario is that she was having an operation to try to correct her eyes that ultimately failed. I personally believe the second scenario. In this scene, Derpy appears to be a filly and is already cross-eyed. In Where the Apple Lies, she appears to be a teenager when she gets the operation done. So the way I see it, she was a very good flyer, and then she had some sort of accident that affected her ability to see well, therefore her flying started to slip. So when she became older, her parents decided to give her an operation to see if they could correct that. Unfortunately, it failed. But there are more things to look at in this scene. The first thing I noticed in this scene was filly Spitfire. We get to see Spitfire as a filly. Not to mention younger versions of many other Pegasi we've seen before. But personally, I was ecstatic to see younger versions of the Wonderbolts that we know, especially Spitfire. And interestingly enough, we also see Lightning Dust here. I kinda hope they'll bring her back sometime. I don't feel like we finalized her story. I know she was reckless and all, and she probably got thrown out of the Wonderbolt Academy for it, but I kinda do feel bad for her. The show has been bringing back a lot of secondary characters, so I do have hope that we'll see her again, and somehow get either redemption for her, or maybe she'll get another chance to be Wonderbolt. We'll see. I don't think her story is over yet. And the ending scene. Scootaloo is basically an honorary member of the Rainbow family. Whether it's legal or not, Scootaloo is a part of the family. I'm actually having trouble reading her face here. I can't tell if she's embarrassed or if she's just so ecstatic that she's part of a great family. Maybe it's a little of both. This scene makes me so happy though. Rainbow Dash has acted like a big sister to Scootaloo for so long, and now this family has pretty much basically adopted her. Maybe not legally, as we're not exactly sure if she's an orphan or not, but this family is pretty much the family that she needs and has always wanted. Okay, final thoughts. Actually, there's one more thing I need to mention. Okay, now the parents. Bo Hothoof and Windy Whistles. We've seen this Pegasi walking around before with the rainbow mane, and even be around Rainbow Dash in those scenes. Every time he was shown, there was lots of speculation that he was Rainbow Dash's dad, but now we know that's not the case. Taking another look at him though, he looks a lot like Bo Highhoof in terms of the coloration. So here's my headcanon. This Pegasus that we've seen around before is actually Rainbow's uncle, her father's brother, as he looks like her father in terms of the coloration of the mane and the coat. And based on where we've seen him before, it makes a lot of sense. An uncle would totally take a niece to those type of events. In terms of her mother, however, we were never shown anything about her, although the name is also different than what we expected. Maybe the name that we heard is her aunt? Anyway, that's all speculation at this point. We have no concrete evidence as of yet. So, final thoughts. This was a really good episode. Though some parts were hard to watch, it was still really enjoyable to see. We finally got to see parents that we've been waiting to see for a long time, and they were awesome, and Rainbow's mother is very cute. We also got to see some cute moments from Sulu. Though the parents didn't have the names we were expecting, or the look we were expecting, I'm not at all disappointed. It was also nice to see how Rainbow Dash is fitting in with the Wonderbolts now. She had kind of a rocky start, but it looks like she really is part of the team now. I'll give this episode a 7.8 out of 10. This episode wasn't quite on par with Fluttershy Steps In, which is one of my favorite episodes of the season so far, but it does get a higher rating than the last episode, Forever Philly, because there was no predictability. Now keep in mind, these ratings are just my opinion. If you love this episode and want to give it 10, that's awesome. Well, that's all for this episode of Crimson Analysis. I'm Crimson Shield. Thanks for watching.